Teen Talk Live with Generation Prodigy. My name is Jared A, and I am your host for tonight. Our guest mentor for tonight is, I'm sorry about your name, Deshaun Radcliffe of Stigma Stomping Part 2. You can all view her clips of her live broadcasts on Instagram and Facebook. Tonight, we will continue the discussion addressing mental health and stigma faced by teens. If you are a teenager or the parent of a teen who battles with depression, low self-esteem, anxiety, and the list goes on, this broadcast is for you. Please join the discussion via YouTube at Generation Prodigy TV, the chat box, and share it with others. And now a brief clip of Nico, courtesy of Stigma Stomping.
Sure. What would you say to people who are like, okay, so when you was like, okay, well, I deal with low self-esteem or I deal with whatever it is, and you're like, and then they say, but you're so pretty. How could you even have an issue?
I think my foundation came out of not seeing a lot of people that looked like me in most of my environments. So from that, it created a boundary for the amount of self-esteem I could have, because I didn't look like the Eurocentric beauty that I saw mostly when I was growing up. So it's embedded in my head no matter what it looks like on the outside.
So even now, and you're constantly told that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just my foundation, as much as I'm trying to rupture it, it was already set for me. So it's something that I'm fighting, but it might not look like it. Or it's not something that I project, because it's not, it's not what I'm trying to manifest.
That was a very informational video. So now let's bring onto the stage Deshaun Radcliffe to give us more information on what's going on in part 2. I'm so excited.
Hi, Jared A. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine.
Good. So again, I'm Deshaun. I'm gonna help you. I wrote your name down phonetically so that I can make sure I said it correctly. So I understand having issues with pronunciation. Believe me, I'm Deshaun, and I brought one of my favorite people in the whole world here with me, Dominique, my daughter, so that she could be available to give an even better and more even a better, grasp and more authentic, capture of this, because this was her experience. She can relate more relative. That's the word I was looking for, because she lived through it, and she's I guess you're a teenager for a few more minutes, just a few. But this is a lot of what she has experienced is what encouraged me to be here today, to be doing this. So we're here. We're still talking about stigma stomping. It is still a passion for me. I struggle with different issues myself as a 52-year-old lady, but watching my daughter have to deal with some things, and even other people. There's so many people who are affected by different stigmas and stuff like that. And I think that it's diminishing and cheapening their quality of life. So I'm on a mission. Can I change the world? I'm going to try to. I'm going to do everything I can to make noise and hopefully encourage people to speak up, to talk up, to do what they can to get the help that they need. So, yeah, we're ready. You got questions? We're ready to share with you.
Let's see. Sorry. I wasn't mentally ready, but one of my question is so what is your what would you like to tell teens that's dealing with depression, that is dealing with depression? It don't have to, and Jesus, and don't know how to deal with it or know what to do in that certain situation.
That question for me or for Dominique?
Either one can't answer. I mean, I did it.
Okay. For me, what I would say from the outside looking in is hopefully keep talking. Talk to someone. Don't think that you have to handle all of this and take all of this on by yourself. You are not by yourself. There is someone who can relate. There's always someone who's either experiencing it with you or have already dealt with something similar to it or know someone or is connected to someone. It's just like, please don't think that you have to take all of this stuff in on your own and try to figure it out. There are trained people, there are mental health care workers, whether you can find them through speaking to someone or looking online or talking to a parent, person in your village, somebody like that, to just say something so that someone can see what they can do to get you the help that you need. But if you don't say anything, a lot of times people can't figure out how to reach you.
Thank you. This one is for, let's say it wrong, Dominique.
Dominique.
Doing well. How did you like? I'm not saying if you had depression. I don't know. Sorry, but how did you like deal with it? Like, what was your coping? What was your go-to?
In a very unhealthy way, I found a way to make trauma funny to me. So if anything would happen, I would find that it was overwhelming for me to deal with if I took it, to heart, or if I allowed it to get to me. So I would just laugh about it. And, it started as, I thought it was helping me, but then I realized that it ultimately wasn't. So it is a good coping mechanism for the present, but for the future, it can be damaging. So I think once I found that, it was not helping me, then I was still at a place where I didn't want to seek help. So I would still just, in another way to help myself for now and not for later, I would just choose not to feel. So if I don't feel it, it's not going to hit me. And again, that would help for the moment. But then, I'm 19 now and I'm feeling things that happened when I was 13, 14 because I didn't allow myself to process them.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. This is for Deshawn. I'm struggling. I'm sorry. So, as a parent, how did you what's the word? How did you like help your daughter? Like how, because some parents don't know what to do or how to help their child or what to give them when they are depressed or ADHD or any mental health issue.
For a long time, I wasn't able to effectively help her. So I was trying. I was struggling like really crazy, trying to see what I could do to connect with her or to get her to feel comfortable talking to me and opening up to me about what was going on. I could clearly see behavioral changes and her isolating herself, and just kind of being, be around, but not necessarily present, not necessarily, like in there. And so that was very frustrating, very difficult for me, and me kind of taking it personal as a parent. I was like feeling rejected or whatever, but it was just like I was trying to help her, but I wasn't equipped. And I'll say that over and over again. I was not equipped with enough knowledge on how to be able to see, okay, this is something more than a phase, something more than hormones, something more than just something that's just gonna fly by. My daughter needs something that I can't help. I can't connect, enough with her to be able to get out of her exactly what's going on so that I can direct her to, okay, but after talking to some of my sorority sisters and stuff, it was just like, okay, you're going to need to get her to a counselor or try to get her to someone where she will talk and then they can pull out the information that I wasn't able to do. So I tried to stay close, keep praying. I keep showing up. I probably really got on her nerves because I wouldn't, I didn't want her to be isolated and by herself. So I keep coming in because I don't want her to hurt herself. I didn't know to what extent things could escalate. So I just kept trying to be present. But was I necessarily effective? I don't know.
Well, now let's go further with our discussion about identity crisis as teens face. Let's watch this next clip.
If I would have spoken out or said something or stood up for myself in that environment, it would have completely estranged me, and I would have been exiled from the social, like, the area I was in, the group I was in. So I'd go somewhere where you can see more people like you, or kind of depend on family events and church to find your identity there. And school would just be an outside thing. You don't base yourself there.
So would you give us more information about that video? If that's okay with you?
Yeah. So I would say that I was in primarily white institutions for all of my life, still am. So it was difficult to not only find people that look like me, but kind of root myself in a community where, I feel like I can be myself or kind of grow into who I should be. So I think I kind of saved parts of myself for, church or family events, like I had said, because that's where I saw people that looked like me. That's where I saw or felt like I could relate to people. So I kind of, would savor those moments more. So I feel like it became areas where I'm at school, but I'm not able to be myself because I don't feel like I've developed that part of myself yet. So when I was at school, I was in a position to be, the token Black person because I wasn't authentically Black because I hadn't developed that part of myself yet. And I just think that was really dangerous in, how my foundation was built, because it was, kind of a double life, and it wasn't something that I would recommend. I think that it was really detrimental to me because it was having to live out two separate personalities, and one was, not yet finished being or becoming who I need to be.
Yeah. How in school, how did you everybody acts differently, but if you don't want to share this, that's fine. But everyone acts differently. I act differently, my sister acts differently, going through depression and ADHD and all that stuff. So how did you react? How did you do things in school? Good, bad, ugly, pretty?
Do you mean academically, socially? Mentally?
It doesn't matter. Anyone. It's mostly I want to know mostly academically, but you can do socially too for other questions.
Yeah, I feel like it was evident to me early on that I was going to have to work harder than everyone else, and I kind of found comfort in knowing that I was doing better than most people. So if I was in a place where, I kind of prided myself in doing well academically, so I would be in the, the advanced math group, or I would be better at writing because I knew I had to do better than everyone else. And it still wouldn't have gotten me the recognition that I say my, white counterparts would have gotten. But it helped me to know that I was still doing better than them. And I guess in a way that felt like my leg up on them because, yeah, I might, be lower on the social scale because I'm Black, but academically I was higher than them. So I think that kind of balanced it out in my head.
Yeah, it's the opposite with my school. We're more a higher rank with academics and sports.
Yeah.
And like on the socially level, we're like down here, but like sports we're like all the way up here.
Yeah.
So it's just like me personally, I feel better when I'm doing sports because that's my power. That's how I can be in control instead of like me walking the halls or anything. And math is my strong suit. Like that also makes me feel like I'm power, like I'm strong. Like it's nothing on me, honestly.
Yeah.
So that's how me myself how you was going through with your like academics, that's how me sports and like math was my strong suit against everybody.
Yeah, I think I did do dance, so I found that I felt better about myself when I succeeded in that field. So I
Incredible.
made it to, the highest level of dance, and that made me feel, because it was me and my best friend. We were the only Black people in that level. So when I had made it there, I did feel better about myself, even though I didn't know that, in a way I was killing myself. I was dealing with body dysmorphia. I had low confidence. I was having trouble eating and making friends, but I was in the highest level. So it's kind of a sacrifice, a give and take. So I think I was sacrificing myself to feel like I was doing something better than most people.
Did you feel like there was like more competition on yourself? Because that's how I felt like in school. Like I felt like there was more. I had to compete more for like to like be Black or to be African American. I have to like be more because I'm the only Black kid in my math and English class. So I have to feel like I have to be on top of A game. I have to be all A's. I have to do that. Do you like? Because I get stressed. So I want to like, is there anything you would like to say to me when like I feel stressed or I feel like I have to compete for everybody to like me?
Yeah, I think that now I'm in a place where I know that the behavior I developed to get ahead in school was detrimental to me, because now I see a lot of people in my life as competition, and it's hard for me to trust people. I think definitely on top of the issues I already have concerning, relationships. I think it's difficult. So I think right now what you kind of need to do is not only just focus on yourself, but if you are able to find a community of people that look like you, kind of, take root in them, be grateful for them, and share your experiences with them, because that's going to bring you guys closer together. I think a way that me and my friend, one of my best friends became so close now is because our freshman year, we were just like, I'm tired of straightening my hair. Like, I want to know what my natural hair can be like. It was, she was going through the same thing. We were like, this is heat damage. And that was one of the first things that we ever bonded over. And, now she's across the country and we're still really good friends. But I think that you guys have to start talking about these things because everyone's going through them and no one's saying anything.
Yeah. Yeah. So like as a parent, how do you approach these things? Like when you see your child struggling academically, like how do you help them or how do you like approach them in a certain manner?
Okay. So academically, I couldn't do that work they were doing. So I'm glad that she was doing very well. Academics didn't. It wasn't presented as a struggle, because she would. I guess if you needed help, you would get the help you needed. Talk to the teachers or whatever. In that school district, they did have a lot of resources and different things in place, and she is one who will speak up if she needs help. Or academically, it was not an issue. So I'm grateful for that, because I definitely couldn't sit down with her and help her with her homework, especially math. Mm-mm. Now, English, maybe grading, looking over papers and stuff like that, editing papers, I got that. But that math stuff wasn't, or science. So I'm grateful to God that she was doing great in that. That wasn't an issue, but just trying to reinforce the self-esteem thing and letting her know that you're great, you're wonderful, you're beautiful, you were bomb. And you Black, you don't have to be like them. You don't have to be what they say that you are, all of that stuff. But it's hard because it's easier said than done, of course, because I can say that. And at home, we're trying to reinforce that. And in the different settings, whether it was church or family or just hanging out, whatever, we're trying to encourage that and nurture that. But still, she's in school for however many hours a day, every day. And you know how, I won't say you guys are, but it seems that young people, they hear more from their peers and the kids than they hear from us as parents and those who are trying to deliberately pour into them. And a lot of it is like, we knew, okay, well, they're here, they're in a highly competitive school district and all that. They are going to be in positions quite often, because she has a sister 2.5 years older than her, where they're the only chocolate faces that are going to be there. So they're going to have to do their thing. But trying to get into their head to be proud of who they are as a Black woman. And I did definitely let them know, you're always going to have to outperform, you know, in order to maybe get close to the amount of recognition they're going to get when they're not even at your level. I hate to say it like that, but that's the way the society does that. And I lived that myself. As a deputy sheriff, I had to be way over the bar to get the same amount of recognition as a guy who could be subpar, not really doing nothing, but they're going to get elevated because I got this Black face and I'm a female and they're not. So, yeah, I'm grateful that academics wasn't an issue, but trying to constantly, deliberately pour into our girls that be proud of who you are. You know, you can do whatever. You can compete with these people. You still bomb. You still whatever. I don't care what they say, what they do, but saying it and trying to give it to them and them accepting it and living it, a whole different thing. So it's a constant and a very deliberate pour of trying to pour in positivity, trying to pour in self-esteem, trying to pour in as much love and foundation as we could. But it was still, we could pour it in there and send them out. But then when they leave, they're going into the ring with all of that. And however these people are raised and however they present themselves. And so it was like this a lot.
Yeah. I feel you on that, because I feel like there's a lot of stress on my parents. We have a question from a parent. It says, how do you keep your daughter, the new generation, encouraged when their challenges are somewhat different than what we expected?
How do we keep them encouraged?
Yes, I think that's the question.
One thing, I try to keep talking. I try to, we hope that they can see other examples, even though the numbers are not the same. But, you know, we as a people, we got a lot to offer. And a whole lot of the people outside of us are constantly doing things to be like us. So that's something that I will say quite often. Look, they're trying to get what you got. They're always trying to do whatever, you know, imitation. They're trying to imitate you. That's, what is that, the best form of flattery? You know, they're constantly trying to do, you know, whatever. And just telling them they're doing well and their best is enough. Practice makes better. Some people say practice makes perfect. I don't know. Some things I practiced a lot. I did not become perfect, but I got better. And to try and continue to push them back, push them back in the ring to reset. Okay, you didn't do as well as you wanted to in that, but you know, it ain't over yet. Go back, show up again, keep showing up. I try to encourage that. We as parents, we try to continue to encourage that, but it's like, I have to say, this world and in this environment, a lot of things that are being thrown, it gets difficult because so many things are different from what our experiences are, but there's enough that correlates that when we can connect, I'm gonna drive that home. Let me tell you, I dealt with this too. And I will always be completely transparent with them, always. And sometimes parents are afraid to do that because then we have to present ourselves as imperfect people, completely imperfect. But it's just like, when I was 19, let me tell you what I was doing when I was 19. Let her know. And then different things that she's struggled with. Let me tell you why I'm trying to deter you from that so hard is because I've dealt with the same. Okay, now see, she had to sleep with an air condition over her, so she's fighting.
It's fine. Um, yeah, I feel like there's like more challenges than before. Like each challenges are different than before. Like each day is a different challenge. So now that like I see that in like schools, I see that now like with like where like kids just trying to fit in or don't know what to do in schools or like don't feel like themselves and want to be like other people. So like how do you like so as a parent when you try to like feed on some positivity into your kid and then they go out in the world full of negativity, how do you how do you help your child to keep that positivity in their system and their mental awareness?
Well, to be completely honest, some of the things it's like because you guys are subjected to so much stuff that all this technology is so many things that are coming at you that we did not have to deal with. All I can do is be totally transparent. I wish I can tell you exactly how to deal with this, but baby, I don't know either. But what we can do is keep talking about it. We can pray about it. We can talk to other people about it. We can be honest because it's something just like sometimes I feel hopeless myself as a parent because we're just like completely bombarded with so many things that are negative, so many things that seems to take it's like a sucker punch when you think, okay, we've gotten to this point, then we get hit by something else from a different direction. So being completely transparent, sometimes I have to admit, I don't know. Let's try to get through this together. Let's try to encourage each other together. Let's try to, you might say something that's encouraging to me when I can't encourage you. I feel like you're never too old to learn and you're never too young to teach. So I'm open and I learn a lot from my girls. I do.
Yeah. I personally don't have any questions. Is there anything you would like to say or anything?
Me?
Like any of you guys, like Dominic or
I would just say definitely try to find strength in your community. They're going through what you're going through, and you have to talk about it. You have to talk about it.
And it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, it was a good point that bring back up in. It was a good point one of the parents made was about our generation experienced things a little differently. We didn't have social media. In fact, we didn't have computers to halfway through our lives. And so I just want to briefly, bring, on to introduce also, we have one of our mentors, Mr. Robert Nicholas. Hey, Robert. We're just talking about how it's so different when it comes to our generation versus their generation. Now they have a lot to, it's compounded. They have more. It's the same issues, but now it's just compounded because now they have to face it with an entire world because of social media. The pressures are different. And now with our racial, political, social climate, yeah, it's not as black and white. It's so much gray to where it just breeds confusion. What are your thoughts from a male perspective, Robbie? So I just want to acknowledge we do have some of our teams on the call. They're in our studio audience right now. So we just want to give a shout out to Josh Jason and Lex for joining us, and some of the parents and Tracy on the line. So we just wanted to say hello to y'all, and for those that are watching on YouTube and Facebook in the audience. So we're getting ready for our Q&A. So get your questions ready. So yeah, Robert, take it away from your perspective from back in the day compared to now.
I'm gonna say there was a whole lot of difference between male and female that boys and girls we had back in my day. Like I graduated from high school in '85, and we still at that time, like you're how being do now, had to be cleaner, better, and brighter at everything. And the times we had it easy is if we were really good on the basketball, football, or track arena, and they thought we were done for athletes. We couldn't think. Um, but we had to excel, and we were scrutinized to a different level that was very unfair to we thought, but it became a part of life, and you'll see it that even though we are working on to change it right now and make a strive to make it better. Uh, you and I, Tanya, and everyone in our families and friends that are like us, being people of color, don't have to be cleaner, brighter, and better. But I'm proud of you because you're recognizing the challenges ahead of you. You've addressed them very well right now. You're light years ahead of where I was back then. In my day, when I was in entering from junior to senior high, or
Right.
senior high, going to college, and you're going to do quite fine. You're going to do quite well.
I
But
think that's half the battle right there, what you said, Mr. Robert, because I mean, for her to be able to recognize this at this young age,
mhm,
um, fresh out of high school, preparing to entering college, yeah, and to be able to recognize some of the things that took place, to be able to notice some of the challenges that existed, and to be able to know that okay, this is what I've been working through, this is what I've worked through, this is what you need to do, this is what how I was able to, you know, start the journey to overcoming it. Um, I think she's light years ahead than when we were, you know, back in high school. Do you agree, Deshaun?
Yes, I do. I do.
Yeah.
I do. Because yeah, some of the things that are coming is just like to have a sense of awareness already. You're at an advantage because some of the things at that age, we were just coming out of high school, just hey, we finished high school, ready to go to the next thing, but not aware of so much stuff. It's so much underlying junk that they're aware of. They can see it politically that I wasn't tapped in like that. Politically, it was like, who the president? All right, whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
Bad to say it like that, but it's just like, but they're affected by things politically so much. And so they have to be aware and they can have discussions about it that wasn't on my radar. It
yeah,
wasn't.
Yeah.
Not
I agree.
Now there was a clip that I did not show because it was like to play the clip. It broke my heart every time I watched it. The clip was dealing with how some of the racial slurs, especially during Black History Month. Um, I mean, just thinking about it, it bothered me when they talked about her legs and just the different comments. Because I don't know if Jared, you can relate to any of this or not, or just some of the topics when it comes to Black History Month, how individuals of different races, if racial slurs are made toward you, because it is just not cool. Is that something are you okay to share or talk about a little bit about that? Because I know Nico had that experience, and if she's able to talk about it a little bit, I would love for her to share that experience because I'm sure others are experiencing it, but may not have the opportunity to talk about that.
Yeah, I deal with it every day. It's not just Black History Month. It's worse Black History Month. It's not as like every other day, but I deal with it every day. Like, um, well, before like any Black History Month, it's little things like they'll scoot over or like they look at me funny or anything. But like Black History Month, it was like, oh, you'll be a house slave, or um, I could beat you, or like I wish I could hang you from a tree, stuff like that. Like you should go run away so I can kill you, like stuff like that, and like it's worse Black History Month when they're learning about the history of like Black history and like Martin Luther King and all that stuff. And it's just like, I'm just like, one day I'm just like, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. Like, I can't control it or anything. Like, I can't control my color. I can't control anything. I can't control my skin color. So it's just the fact that like some people is like, oh, you deserve to die because of your skin color, or especially since this police brutality thing happened, ever since that, going through that with George Floyd and going through school with that, it gotten worse. It was like, he deserved to die. You should have been there because you could have died too. I wish I could strangle you. I wish I could do this. I wish I could do that. And these wishes feels like threats to me, where it feels like, what if it actually happens one day and I can't say nothing? And what if I go to the bathroom and now I get strangled because I'm Black? So it's gotten to the point where I don't know what to do, or I can't talk to people about it because I don't know how to like inform them, especially my parents. I don't want them to be like, I'm gonna take you out of this school just for that, you know? I don't want it to like affect other people because I'm there for education purposes anyway. So I'm not really um what is it called? Like impacted by it. But like when I get home, I take all the anger out at home because I don't want them to see that what they're saying is affecting me at school because that's what they want. So I wait till I get home where I'm by myself and like I'm pushed away from everybody to let all my anger out when I talk to talk to God to like give me a path on how to deal with these people. So that's my racial slurs pretty much.
Nico, I think you would be able to really deal with this topic. And what would you share to Jared A. Specifically? Because I didn't know um, it was that much happening, and you experienced some similar things. What would you share with the teens now, coming out of high school, but now you entering a whole nother level of life with this stuff? What would you share at this point?
I would say it's definitely difficult when there's white people explaining Black history. So I think that could escalate the situation. When you get to college, you kind of get to choose who teaches you. So I think that's a lot more powerful. But the situations, to me, it just seems a lot more violent from where I'm standing. So I think that you really need to ground yourself and find people that you can talk this out with, because keeping it in and waiting till you get home, that's hurting you. And it's not gonna, it's not gonna go away just because you wait to express it. I think you need to start talking it out now. And these people need to be confronted, because when you confront them, that's when you figure out that the ignorance with them is starting at home.
Yeah, it's just like, I won't say all of it, but it is this one incident where a group of white, predominantly white group was attacking me as early in the morning as soon as I got off the bus. And they know I'm a cheerleader. They know that I'm doing well in school. They know I have goals. And so when I told my auntie, they was like, oh yeah, they're trying to take that stuff away from you. They're trying to take your power away from you. They're trying to take everything, because cheer means so much to me. And that one incident, if I would have physically reacted to that, my whole career would have been gone. My whole reputation would have been gone. So that's when my auntie make that understand, like, you can't give them what they want because they want you to react. They want to get a reaction from you so they can take everything that you have away from them. And sometimes I feel like I don't know what to do anymore because I can't give them what they react. But my emotions and my head is telling me to do one thing, but I can't do the thing because my body is telling me, no, you have a career to do. But it's like hard to like struggle, like hard to like juggle that all together.
Yeah, if you can find a way to, I know it sounds bad, but take your emotions out of it. One of the things that I had said to one of my oppressors, I literally just said, why do you think this is okay? And it kind of like stops them in their tracks, because
now they're having to reevaluate, and you're coming at them not angry but calm, just trying to start a conversation. So I think that if you can find the power to just take your emotions out of the situation, because unfortunately you're going to be seen as the angry Black woman if you respond how you're provoked. So if you can find a way to do that, I think it's really important I found it, powerful to just have a conversation with them. Why do you feel like this is okay? Why do you feel like you need to make me a victim in this situation?
I see,
And
Robert, because it's like I want to tap into it because I want you to answer this question too as you're speaking, Robert. Is that young men deal with this? They don't talk about it a lot either, and
no, we we
yeah,
internalize a lot of anger, a lot of stress, and historically we have brought things home and made our home life bad, or made our home life difficult, or we turn to alcohol, or or something that is not good for us emotionally or physically. Um, I think her answer was fantastic when she just said, stay calm, let's ask one question. Because you rebound, the law of physics, too dangerous to make you positive. And so if they come at you doing one thing, saying something or pushing, and just ask them, say, why do you want to do that? Because remember, you as a black person are perceived as aggressive, as angry. And on top of that, you're intelligent and articulate, so you're doubly intimidating to them. And let me add one thing to it. Them could be one of us, because oftentimes we're our worst enemy. We have, black and black crimes, brown and brown, whatever like that. So, oftentimes we have to advance, it's not only the Caucasian race or the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, but it could be Black Americans or Hispanic, because if you're perceived as you're doing well and you want them, you want them. It's what their mindset. So, but I think her response is very good. You say, remain calm, uh, protect yourself at all times. Um, let a physical retaliation be your last line of answer, because you're always wrong. And they always catch the second person who retaliates in this situation. And but I would say one other thing, going back to oftentimes we're our worst enemy, or uh, at times, is that you're going to go places and do things. Don't forget where you came from. Don't forget that someone helped you. Someone maybe not lent a hand or paid your path, but someone opened a door or introduced you to the right people. You do the same. Don't forget where you came from.
I have a
So,
question for Nico. As you're talking, it just made me think that um, would you recommend for teens, especially if they're dealing with racial slurs and this is a form of bullying, to go to the principal's office or the teachers, or is there a worse sometimes impact as a result of going to them? Who in authority can you go to have assistance?
I had to put myself in a position of authority. So I found that, they were starting this task force at my school. So I put myself in a position where I was the one advocating for myself. So it was me in the superintendent's office, and I was talking to him saying, this is your school. What are you going to do about it? And I was able to, create workshops for people to not only discipline them, but to educate the ignorance, because it's ultimately ignorance. That's where it's coming from. So I think that if you have like a BSU or something at your school, if you have just a group of Black students collectively, go to your principal, your superintendent. If you have a Black teacher that you trust, go to them. There's power in numbers.
And I would say, as we went to the board meetings and also in PTA meetings, I would kind of disrupt kind of the all right, the peace, whatever, because sometimes different issues were coming up. And I mean, I'm mommy, so when she did share some things with me, it's like, so then I need to do something, because some of these things are, it's like, if you've reported it or if different people are experiencing this and nobody is saying anything, then I'm like, okay, so this goes from a child situation to, I think it's time for upper management, for the parents to get involved. So my husband and I both, we spoke at the board meetings, letting them know, because sometimes they'll know some things and sometimes they know a lot of things, but they're not willing to face anything because it disrupts their utopia. And we were willing to shut that down, or to at least make a lot of noise and bring attention to it. So it's like holding it in. I'm like, say something. Now she's better than me when she says take the emotion out of it. I'm still a work in progress on that as a parent, because when you feel like your child is being hurt, sometimes you respond. Just, my husband was better at that part. I'm the passion, and he was more able to stay focused and make things happen in a more professional way. But please don't keep quiet, because internalizing it is just it's not better. It's not better. It's not better. And so make noise. Let the people in positions of power know something. And when you're saying something to them, because I'm like, we've spoken to her teacher and to the counselor and to the principal and so it's like, I'm letting you know we've done all of this. So how much more noise do you want me to make? Do you want us to bring outside people into this so they'll know that your little, what you guys are trying to set up or say is here is really not what's going on? Because there's people who are having different experiences. So in the PTA meetings, when they're talking about all of these great things, okay, now what about this right here? Because this is also happening on your campus. So what are you doing to bring attention to this? So I would say make noise, talk to people who are in positions of power, but definitely say something and keep on talking. Just like sometimes you're talking to someone, it's like, okay, you the 800 number, I need to speak to the manager. Okay, you the only person, okay, keep going up until you get satisfaction. Somebody needs to hear what your experience is, because there's people coming behind you, and the hope is we can prevent them from having to deal with some of those same things.
That's good.
That's good. Don't
I have
forget, what she said there is so true, because diversity and inclusion are one of the main objectives of today's communities and society. And if it's not happening, um, I'll look the parents advise their kids accordingly, because I can have this, but this thing is a powerful tool. If a record or a video is a powerful tool, because that's not hearsay and not correct scope of law. It's not hearsay. That is actual documentation of an event that occurred. That's an occurrence, and it can hide that, and you can't. And if you manipulate it, it can be shown. But if it's actual and it's happening, this can be a tool. And I still haven't learned when is the best time to pull that out or not. But I would try to resolve issues before I pull out that tool, because the camera can be a very intimidating piece of equipment right now. Because right now the cell cam is what got us justice for George Floyd. If it had been for the cell phone, that would never happen. That would never been take care in a proper manner. We would have never known about it.
Yeah, that's true. The power of the camera and voice recording. So I guess sometimes if you don't have the if you're not in a safe environment where you can take out the phone to like video record and don't feel comfortable with that, you can also click the voice record button. Yeah, because they can still hear, So I think that's a very powerful. Thanks, Robert, for that, to bring that up. And for parents, here is a clip I would love to show of some advice that Mr. Sean gave on stigma stumping. Stay tuned. Watch this.
Parents, listen to them. If they're saying something, listen to them. Let them know that what they're saying, you can validate that. You will validate that. And let their opinion or their perception be their reality. You do whatever you can to try and help them. But definitely, don't just focus in on what it is that you have as the thought. That's shutting them down. So please don't do that. Trust me, please don't do that. Do you want to name any of the stigmas that you feel like are yours or that you were struggling with during the onset or even up until however far you want to go?
Yeah. Anxiety. I got diagnosed with major depressive disorder, low self-esteem. When it was when it, like everything gets darker. Sundowners, something. What is that called?
I don't know what that's called. But there's probably a mental health care worker.
It's something. It's called something. It's like when it gets to during the day, you can kind of function better. But when it gets to night, it's harder to push through the ups and downs.
Oh,
or when the
I didn't know that was also an issue in. I mean, I know that's something for Alzheimer's, dementia, and stuff like that, and it does get more difficult for them to deal with things at night. I didn't know that also could be associated with this diagnosis. I didn't know that.
But yeah, if I'm using it in the wrong context, and that's clear too. But yeah,
that was pretty powerful. I mean, the sundowning, when things kind of get muddled or confusing and dark, things change as the sun goes down. I just want to say to Nico, thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing your truth, because so many teens can identify whether they're male or female. Thank you, Deshaun, for presenting and bringing stigma stumping to the forefront. Would you mind sharing with others how they can get more information about stigma stumping?
But anyway, in order, or if you want to reach or contact anybody about stigma stomping, it's stigmastomping.com. And it's across the social media. It's Facebook, Instagram. We're just going to start with those two because a little bit out of time. But also everything, stigmastomping.com, that'll take you to the online information, to the online store, to the About Us. And stigmastomping.gmail.com is where you can reach me directly. So,
thank you. Mr. Sean, what else would you like to share with the parents that are watching, and for the replay that is going to come back? So for those who watch it on the replay, you can let us know that this, you watched the replay, and here's some information just from you. Mr. Sean, if you could take it away, just a note to the parents, some of your observations and things you learned.
Just a note, when you notice a drastic or either an ongoing gradual difference in your kids, please tune in. Please don't think that it's just something that's, like I said, just like a phase, because those were the things that I was taught culturally, and those were the things that I was taught in church. Not trying to put down anything, but that's what I was taught. It's a phase, it's puberty, it's hormones, it's all of those things. They'll be fine. They go through it just like everybody else. Sometimes there's more than that. Sometimes it takes prayer, and a lot of times you have to stay connected, even though it may seem like they're pushing you away or they don't want to be bothered. Please stay tuned, because what none of us parents want to do is walk in and find our teens or our kids in an uncompromised world where the help is over, where we can't do anything. That's the absolute worst, and that was an absolute fear that I had for a long time. So it's just like, please talk. And a lot of times you have to show them that you're human. You have to show and give some skin in the game so they can drop their guards and feel like, oh, I can talk to you about something that I'm dealing with, because you may be able to relate. If they can't see you as a relative, they're not going to share with you. They're not. And that's the last thing that we want, especially as parents. We can be all this great things to everybody on the outside, but if it's not working at home, it's not working. So please listen to your kids, talk to your kids, and encourage them. Speak up. It's okay. You're not alone. And a lot of times I probably dealt with some of the same things. Nobody's perfect. Nobody. That's it.
I just like thank you. I know you helped me a lot with like different things I can try when I go to school tomorrow, and I have a game tomorrow. So please pray for me for that. Um I feel like a lot of teens out there, you helped a lot today in this message. Just thank you. Just thank you so much. Also, thank you, Dominique, for telling your side of the story. Thank you for everything that you for coming on this platform to give your side. It was very good to meet you today.
Yes, thank you. Any last words, Dominique, that you would like to share?
Thank you for having me, Jared. Just make sure to stick by your people and talk it out, talk through it.
We're really not the enemy. We're not the enemy.
I know a lot of teens do talk about the discomfort of talking to the parents.
Well, hopefully there's a village somewhere where you can say something to somebody. Do not suffer in silence and feel like you have to do this alone.
Yeah. So we just thank you for your transparency. We thank you for advocacy. And I'm definitely like there. Any teen, you're facing something, you can let me know. You can shoot an email to generationprodigy@gmail.com or info@generationprodigy.org. We appreciate y'all. Love you. And there's nothing you can do about it. So until next month, y'all, we'll communicate our new date. Take care.